Every single thing that we are now seeing behind Ripple has a strategic plan attached to it. We have been talking about this since going all the way back to 2021. And even prior to that, there has been a lot of speculation around what's happening with Ripple and how all of this is planned. And I recently just made a video talking about all of this being planned ahead of time. And now, even with this recent move from Ripple, I think that we have everything in front of us to go off of. Let's actually start off with the big announcement that we went over, which happened on July 2nd, right? Ripple applied for their national bank charter from the OCC. This was huge. On top of this, they also applied for a Fed master account. Now, I did state that this would allow them to hold ROUSD reserves directly with the Fed and provide an additional layer of security to future-proof trust in ROUSD. And I went over all of the connections between the Fed and Ripple and how this could tie back to ROUSD and even XRP. This is a very big announcement. This is a very huge, piece of the puzzle. And if this does get, the green light, then it definitely puts Ripple in, prime position. Now, why did I bring this back up? Well, it's because of this announcement that we just got earlier yesterday. Wow, did someone say boom, I said. The picture is coming together for Ripple, ROUSD, and XRP. Okay. Again, we're going to come back to this announcement from July 2nd because I think everything now is aligning perfectly. This is the announcement from Ripple. Ripple has selected BNY Global as the primary reserves custodian for ROUSD, an enterprise-grade stablecoin built for real-world utility, supported by one of the largest and most trusted financial services companies in the world. BNY is a massive name. Everyone knows of BNY. Even if you don't even look at finance, you're not even in crypto, you're not even around, finance itself, you know the BNY name. I want to go over this in a second, but first, I want to touch on a few things. Number one, going back to July of 2023, BNY Mellon joins the FedNow service, advancing U.S. payment system. Now, you might say, all right, well, this is just them joining the FedNow service. Look at some of these quotes down here. Their leadership paves the way for industry-wide progress, setting an example for others wanting to play a role in support of a modernized U.S. payment infrastructure. BNY Mellon began working with the FedNow pilot program when it began in January of 2021. The firm was one of the early adopters that helped test and provide input on the service. It has also completed a multi-step client testing and certification program in the months leading up to launch. We are relentlessly focused on pushing the payments ecosystem forward by delivering new solutions and services for our clients that help support their business more efficiently. By becoming a FedNow service adopter, we are facilitating broader and deeper access to the financial industry while creating greater opportunities for our clients to expand their instant payment capabilities. Financial institutions and service providers will continue to onboard throughout 2023, which we already know about. But this is huge considering the fact that, BNY was one of the earlier adopters of this. And in fact, they have been pushing for modernization of the financial system since forever now. And this is very crucial to focus on, especially at a time where you now have Ripple applying for a Fed license or a Fed master account, and also a national bank charter license. This will also allow ROUSD reserves to be held directly with the Fed. We already know that Ripple is tapped in with FedNow. We've talked about this multiple times. Even Volante was a part of FedNow in a huge way, which also has Ripple tied into it with the API plug and play technology, which also does include XRP. What's crazy about this is all of the connections between the Fed, Ripple, and now even BNY. This is in the same week that Ripple is applying for a national bank charter license and a Fed master account. Now BNY is becoming the primary reserves custodian for ROUSD. And by the way, over here, BNY Mellon is a major financial institution that works closely with the Federal Reserve System. While not a part of the Federal Reserve itself, BNY Mellon acts as a service provider and participant in various Federal Reserve initiatives, particularly in the area of payments and securities. They are involved with the FedNow service clearing and collateral management, and custody of stablecoin reserves. And by the way, BNY, they oversee more than $53.1 trillion in assets for their clients, managing it, moving it, and keeping it safe. If we look down here, we have who we are at the center of finance. Since our founding, we have partnered alongside our clients, putting our expertise and platforms to work to help them achieve their ambitions. Today, we help over 90% of Fortune 100 companies and nearly all the top 100 banks globally access the money they need. Absolutely massive for Ripple to be tied to BNY. Guys, I'm telling you right now, we are watching as everything unfolds before our eyes. A lot of people are speculating if BNY was one of the 1,700 NDAs tied to Ripple as well in the court documents. We don't know. We can't confirm that. But this is definitely a huge announcement. And we have over here, Ripple selects BNY to custody Ripple USD reserves. We have today, Ripple, the leading provider of digital asset infrastructure for financial institutions, announced that it has selected the Bank of New York Mellon Corporation, a global financial services company, for the primary custody of Ripple USD reserves. Ripple and BNY are jointly committed to paving the way for digital asset adoption at institutional scale, and together are bridging the gap between traditional finance and crypto. Now, RLUSD is one of the few global stablecoins issued under the New York Department of Financial Services Trust Company Charter. Unlike stablecoins geared primarily towards retail users, RLUSD has been purpose-built for enterprise utility, particularly in improving the speed, cost, and efficiency of cross-border payments. Leveraging its expertise enabling the digital asset ecosystem and proven track record in providing stablecoin infrastructure in the US, BNY will serve as the primary reserve custodian of RLUSD. In addition, Ripple will utilize BNY's leading transaction banking services to underpin its operations and continue delivering seamless solutions for its customers. Ripple USD addresses a critical gap in the market as a stablecoin developed for enterprise-grade financial use cases, designed to meet the rigorous standards of leading financial institutions, said Jack McDonald, SVP of stablecoins at Ripple. BNY brings together demonstrable custody expertise and a strong commitment to financial innovation in this rapidly changing landscape, as well as a forward-thinking approach to digital asset infrastructure, making them the ideal partner for Ripple and RLUSD. As primary custodian for RLUSD, we're proud to support the growth of digital assets by providing a differentiated platform designed to meet the evolving needs of institutions in the digital asset ecosystem. As a leading financial platform company, we remain committed to providing secure, innovative, and streamlined solutions that empower financial ecosystems worldwide, and we're proud to work closely with Ripple as we propel the future of the financial system and digital asset adoption at institutional scale. Yeah, because the entire financial system is changing, and it's with these types of players. BNY now being a close partner of Ripple's at this point is a huge step for Ripple. And we have over here from Brad Garlinghouse, joined Squawk CNBC this morning to discuss institutional stablecoin momentum and how trusted banks like BNY, just announced as RLUSD's reserve banking partner today, are ready to go all in on crypto with regulatory clarity. The U.S. is long overdue for crypto market structure legislation, which will protect consumers, establish jurisdictional swim lanes, and allow financial innovation to thrive. Here we have from Bank XRP, this is from CNBC, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse unveils BNY partnership and the future of RLUSD stablecoin. Check this out.
Ripple announcing just moments ago that it's partnering with BNY for BNY to be its primary custodian for its stablecoin. Joining us first on CNBC, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. Wow, that's a nice shot, Brad. It suits you well. You're looking very, even presidential almost. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Good to be back on Squawk Box.
You need a custodian for your stablecoin. Why BNY?
Well, look, I think as the crypto industry has emerged from kind of the last administration where the industry was being attacked, working with the most trusted, the most well-regulated, and even the best capitalized partners is a way to continue to build trust in this system. And stablecoins at their core, by their nature, it's a dollar backed with a dollar in deposits. BNY Mellon has, for a very long time been amongst the most trusted partners out there for as a custody bank. So we're really pleased. We think it's indicative of the shift of tide where we've had headwinds for this industry are now becoming tailwinds, and I think we're going to see a lot of growth.
I mean, all the way back to that duel, I think, right? Is that Bank of New York? I think, yeah, Alexander Hamilton. It goes back a ways, doesn't it?
That one goes way back. I didn't put a number out there because I wasn't sure how many years it's been. But the BNY Mellon, we feel very lucky to be partnered with them, and we think, again, building trust for the whole industry and having RLUSD, our stablecoin, which just passed $500 million in market cap. We launched only about 6 months ago, so we're really pleased with that trend line and feel like this will only continue to build that trust.
It's small compared to some of your competitors, though, at this point. How does that factor into how you approach the whole stablecoin industry?
So the stablecoin industry is about $250 billion today. Many people think it'll be between 1 and 2 trillion in a handful of years. The growth behind it has been profound. We joined the market kind of late, partly because we were using stablecoins in our payment flows for our institutional customers. As you probably know, Ripple at its core has been a payments company and solving a cross-border payments problem. We use stablecoins, we use XRP where it makes sense. And stablecoins, when we were using that, we were a big part of activity for us. We were minting a lot, and we thought we can participate in this market, given our institutional background, given the fact we've leaned into compliance and been very regulated. We have over 60 global licenses to participate in these markets. So we feel like the growth ahead will serve us well as we continue to serve that institutional client.
This doesn't. You still want a banking license, right? Even though you have this deal with BNY.
Well, yes is the short answer. We have pursued and requested application to apply for an OCC license as well as a Fed master account. We think that the key here for crypto and the kind of decentralized finance, as many people call it, Ripple has been building bridges between traditional finance and decentralized finance. The world isn't going to be taken over by crypto. Instead, we think about how do we take the best of what crypto brings in facilitating faster, cheaper transactions and bring it to traditional finance. That's been at the heart of what Ripple has been focused on from the beginning. This is a step towards that, and certainly getting an OCC license, for those that have said that the crypto world wants to be unregulated, whatever, the opposite is true. I'm here in Washington in part, as you referenced, there's a Senate Banking Committee hearing today. We are advocating as an industry to be regulated. And those that, like Ripple, who have stepped forward and said we want to get an OCC license, in addition to the licenses we have with the New York Department of Financial Services, it only continues to augment that very robust, very compliance-first, trusted partner so that we can continue to use these technologies to benefit consumers and businesses alike.
So yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, Ripple right now is adding so much to their arsenal. I mean, this is huge for them. And again, it just goes to show you how deep the connections go here with Ripple to the traditional financial system. If there was a name in this space that I had to say for certain that I am going to, buy this asset or even support this company in a huge way because I think that they are going to be a part of the new financial system, it would be Ripple and XRP. Listen, this is something that we have been following and researching for over 4 years now. And, even prior to YouTube, I was looking around at Ripple and XRP for years. So when we think about what's been going on with all of these connections, we've been following all the breadcrumbs. It led us to this point. And at this point, I just don't see how Ripple and XRP and RLUSD doesn't become a crucial pillar for this new financial system. And on top of that, RLUSD today alone surpassed over $500 million in market cap. I know over here on RWA.xyz, it's showing the incorrect view. It's at 472.6 million. Over here on CoinMarketCap, it's $501.24 million. The same day that we get the announcement with BNY Mellon. Also, monthly transfer volume closing in on 3 billion. Holders still up 2.77%. The market cap for RLUSD is just going insane. It's becoming a very popular stablecoin. We're still moving up the list. I mean, at this point in time, I do think that we are going to be a top 10 player by, I would say, the end of the summertime. And to get into that top 5 position, it's definitely going to take a lot of steam, but I do think that Ripple is on a great path to target that top 5 by the end of this year, just like they did predict. But I love to see this. This is incredible. And like I said, all of this is a strategic play. I do think that this is tied right back to the Fed, because just like we see over here, you know, they are applying for that Fed master account. They want to hold ROUSD reserves directly with the Fed as well. Now they already have ROUSD reserves being held with BNY, which is a close player to the Fed. They have been working with the Fed for, you know, years and years and years. They even joined the FedNow service back in January of 2021, a very early adopter. Again, I think that this is a very strategic play from Ripple's side. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord on the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.